Mom Cooked Meal Ellen Chang. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow members and guests. After spending a substantial amount of time with my family this past holiday season, as we all did, I was able to reminisce on some of the good memories I had growing up. One of those good memories to me was the time that I spent in the kitchen learning how to cook with my mom. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you that I am in no way as good of a cook as she is, because there are so many dishes that she tried to teach me throughout the years that I could never replicate. So at a very young age, she was able to realize I had that little kitchen issue. So she started teaching me simple dishes that she felt I could take with me into my now married life. And I have one dish in particular that stands out as my favorite mom-cooked meal. And it is very simple, enough so that I feel like I can tell you guys how to cook it simply by having a 5 to 7 minute speech tonight. The dish doesn't have a title. It's just sausage, cabbage and onions, and rice. My goal, as I said, and as Danielle had mentioned, is to teach you guys how to cook this meal. But before I begin the supply list and how to prepare it in the kitchen, I want to share with you a little bit more about how this is special for me. I am a mutt, and I am half Taiwanese, a quarter Czechoslovakian, an eighth French Canadian, and an eighth German. And my mom had a lot of Asian influences for my sister and I growing up because it was a big part of our life. And she felt like there were many occasions that she didn't recognize our Czechoslovakian side, so she felt that this was a dish that she should cook for us because it has Czechoslovakian roots to it. Her grandmother and cousins and aunts would all cook this dish, and it actually originated as potatoes, cabbage, and sausage. But for my family, my dad doesn't like potatoes, so she had to have a modified version for us. And with that, she was able to have the whole family successfully eat the meal and enjoy it. And she jokes around that the little plate of food actually represents me and my sister, and we should enjoy it because of that. And although it was a joke, it really has a special meaning for me that I will take into my older age and cook for my kids, and I hope they will enjoy it too. So now that you guys know why it's special, I want to take you to your trip to the grocery store to get all the supplies. Going to the grocery store, it's going to be very simple, and I will list it out as if you don't have any of these supplies at home. First thing that you're going to need to do, grab yourself a basket and head towards the meat section. As I mentioned before, my mom modified the recipe for my family by adding rice, but I actually modified the recipe for myself because I don't eat beef anymore, so I have turkey sausage. You can pick up a package of turkey sausage, it'll be good enough for 2 people. And head on over to the produce section where you're going to want to get a small head of cabbage and 1 onion to add to that portion of the meal. Then you're going to want to go to the spice area. We're going to get pepper and garlic salt, and finish off with finding either a little jar of lemon juice, or you can go and get a fresh lemon too. Now, from there you're going to want to go over to the rice section and buy white rice. And my preference is to get the Asian style rice. Either any brand that you choose will probably be sufficient, but if you don't have interest in making it from scratch, you can buy the pre-cooked stuff. It's pretty good too. And after that, you'll have all the supplies that you need, and you can head on over to the cash register, pay, and head over to your kitchen to start prepping the meal. When you get to the kitchen, it's going to be very quick turnover time to make this meal, 30 minutes max. And you're going to need to do all the steps in a certain order. My recommendation is to start by preheating the oven first to 400 degrees. Assuming you have a rice cooker, and I hope everybody does, you're going to want to pull the rice cooker out, add 2 cups of rice with 3 cups of water, and start that to cook. And it's very simple enough that you can just push it aside and move on to the next step. Pardon me. From there, you're going to want to chop up the cabbage and the onions, and if you have a spouse like my own, he does not like the onions big slices. I have to chop them very small. And you can combine all the cabbage and the onions into the pan and start the sauteing action. I also add a half a cup of water to assist with the wilting process because I don't like crunchy cabbage. That's my personal preference. Once you have started the stovetop cooking, you can begin with cutting up the the sausage into 8 pieces. My husband wanted to make sure I told you guys that it's very important to add slices on top of the sausage to help you understand when the sausage is actually done, because once it gets to its correct cooking point, it will expand and you'll see the X's get larger. And from there, you're going to have probably about 5 to 7 minutes of time to stir the cabbage and put the, the sausage into the oven. And whether or not you want to go watch TV, open a bottle of wine, anything is fine as long as you don't smell any burning material from mainly the cabbage. That's the biggest offender. Finally, you'll have your completed dish up at a half hour mark, and you'll be able to enjoy the dish as much as I do, because I promise, although it is a simple dish, I enjoy it so much so that I will cook it every day. So in conclusion, if you guys have any questions at the end about my recipe, I've been more than happy to answer them for you. And enjoy the dish. Thank you. It must look like this. Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
Oh, now I'm hungry. All right, if everybody could please take their feedback sheet. And Sarah, could you give me 90 seconds on the clock, Sarah? Can you give me 90 seconds so that people can fill out the feedback sheet? If you don't have one, raise your hand, I'll bring one over to you. Just jot down a few notes for Ellen, some things that you like, some things that you think where she might be even better. Who needs a sheet? Raise your hand. Anyone? Anyone? Will?
A pen.
And pen. Sheets over here. Pens too.
Thank you. Actually, everyone was using
Oh, okay.
Thanks.